I've been sitting on this donation deck list for a month, just trying to passively figure out what the heck I do with it to make it work. And this morning, it finally clicked. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today King Colt has sent me an interesting idea, which we're going to change a lot, as I alluded to in the deck tech. So, this is a deck that was meant to be built around two cards that have partner. So, when one of them enters, you can go and search the other one up from your library and put it into your hand. So, Pir Imaginative Rascal says if one or more counters would be put on a permanent your team controls, that many +1 of each kind of those counters are put on that permanent instead. And then Toothy says whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Toothy. And then when Toothy leaves the battlefield, you draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it. So obviously the two cards synergize with each other, right? So if you get a counter, you get one more counter, and when you draw a card, you get a +1/+1 counter, which becomes two +1/+1 counters. And then if Toothy ends up dying or getting exiled or whatever, you draw a bunch of cards. And the original deck list that King Colt sent me was trying to really take advantage of the additional counters, with things ranging from Jitte to Scavenging Ooze to even Jace the Mind Sculptor. And as I was sitting here trying to make this work, I was thinking to myself, like, how are we staying alive for long enough to get this stuff online? I didn't think we had enough removal in the initial deck. And the Green Sun package was kind of slow. And there weren't enough cantrips here, I think, to maximize the power of Uro. And I was kind of bashing my head at the metaphorical wall for a long time, trying to figure out how I was going to make this one work. And then this morning, it finally clicked with me. The answer was the One Ring. The One Ring, getting two counters at a time instead of one, is bananas. And the One Ring, drawing a bunch of cards, resulting in a bunch of counters being placed on this creature, is also bananas. And that was the missing piece to make this deck work. So I started trying to rebuild this as an Up the Beanstalk control deck list that was going to use these cards to power up the One Ring even more than it normally is. So I grabbed an Up the Beanstalk control list as a starting point and ended up here. Now, the biggest thing that I want to point out is actually Carpet of Flowers. This deck is pretty mana intensive. Pir and Toothy are a little expensive in the first place, and we're also playing like the One Ring, and like technically this is a 6-drop, technically. So having Carpet of Flowers as something that I can bring in versus the fair blue decks is, I think, really, really strong. And I think that will kind of let us get away with playing some more of these cards. I am still a little nervous about the count for Uro. I am hoping that feels a little bit better than it looks, and maybe I should go down like 2 Uro to play 2 Ponder or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I don't play decks in this exact wheelhouse very often, and they normally don't look quite like this, to say the least. But I'm hoping this is conceptually sound enough to let us at least do the thing a few times. And we'll see if I end up just killing myself with the One Ring because I put the counters on it too quickly. But, we can do some cute things like stifle our own One Ring life loss trigger and then just continue to draw a bunch of cards. So, hopefully it works out. The list I used as a starting point for brewing had Ground Seal in the sideboard as something that does not mess with Uro but still shuts off all of the various reanimator nonsense. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know that it does enough versus, say, Oops All Spells. But we'll see how it feels in practice today. With that, I think I'm going to jump directly into it here. Folks, if you need any cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com, to support me. Promo code ThrabenU saves you 5% on your order. You always get free shipping. Their customer service rules. I'm going to be putting together a Kefka Court Mage deck. I am in process of doing that, and TOA is about to get a bunch of my money because I know that they are going to deliver my cards in good condition at good prices. Plus, I get to use my own promo code, which is sweet. All right, let's battle. Okay, opening hand is fine. It's not overly impressive or anything. but I have the ability to sculpt it with a Brainstorm. I have Counterspell for combo, Swords to Plowshares for a fair deck. Let's see what my opponent is doing. Island and Ponder. You've got it. And a Delta. I think I'm just going to use this fetch land to clear with Brainstorm. There's a consideration of playing this now in respect of Orcish Bowmasters versus the consideration of holding up Counterspell for something unfair. The range of polluted Delta bullshit in Legacy is pretty darn high right now. Like, you don't know if it's tempo, you don't know if it's combo, you don't know if it is graveyard combo like Reanimator or spell-based combo like Doomsday. I also don't know that I want to Brainstorm until I get a better feel for how good Swords to Plowshares is going to be. But now it's like, do I want to Brainstorm into Orcish Bowmasters? I don't really think I need to. I think I am comfortable continuing to just hit my land drops. And then if my opponent were to fetch right here, for example, I would be comfortable firing off a Brainstorm. I might just use my mana. I've got a Swords to Plowshares in hand. Spell Pierce is fine. I'm going to go ahead and let that resolve, and I'll intend on swordsing it on my own turn. I'm going to fetch here. Meticulous Archive seems fine. Stifle? I'm actually going to take that. Stifle is like perfectly fine if things get a little weird here. So if my opponent fetches in response, I can just snag their land and stop them from brainstorming here. Yep. Doink. Got him. This is 2 mana. This is 2 mana. This would be Dazeable. Kind of just want to brainstorm in response here. Those are certainly cards. I think I'm just going to put back... I'm going to put back land, the One Ring, and then let this clear. I think I am okay giving my opponent one clue. My opponent notably does not have black mana right now since I took them off of that Delta. That's fine. It just still take out the Tamiyo while drawing me a card. You may have your Planeswalker. They do have the black mana. And we'll pick up the Xander's Lounge so that Leyline Binding costs a single mana. I'll do that so I can play around both a Spell Pierce and a Daze. Force of Will, pitching Spell Pierce. Okie dokie. I think I'm now going to cast this when my opponent goes to crack their clue. Yeah, so... Oh, they have Bowmasters. That's kind of annoying. I think the Tamiyo is actually the bigger problem, despite the fact that I have the One Ring right here. Let's just take that out while it's guaranteed. I have so many removal spells in my deck. I don't mind getting pinged a few times by Bowmasters to draw the cards that will answer Bowmasters. My opponent's very low on resources. Unless they randomly, rip something like a Kaito or a Goyf. That's a Murktide. Alright, we've got a few things I need to remove. I'm going to cast the One Ring. I'll draw my card. Just a land, unfortunately. I fog 11 damage here. That's not bad, but I do need to hit next turn with the One Ring or I'm in bad shape. Alright, looks like opponent's just passing now. Toothy can get big, but it doesn't fly. I think I am just drawing the cards here, eating the damage to face. Oh my god. Alright. Top of the library was not kind to me. Okay. So I'm going to throw down Toothy and Pim, and I can use one of them. Hold on. Target player? Fascinating. So then I'll play this one. And I can use this to pick up another Toothy. So that was some degree of card advantage. However, the card advantage matters a lot less when I am at 2 life. I think I am okay if my natural draw for turn is a removal spell that resolves. And I think I am dead if that is not true. I get to dig really, really deep for another One Ring. And once Bowmaster's out of the way, hopefully I can start gaining some life with Uro. Wasteland can make a Leyline Binding cost 2 by getting rid of Xander's Lounge. Although I'm not sure if that's actually better than just denying me multiple white sources. Oh shit, it's just Kaito. Well, that was one of the cards on my bucket list of things I was absolutely worried about. Now, I will jump block here. Take 8. This being tapped to not be a chump blocker is really rough. And if I'm trying to play with Pir and Toothy, I can't really play things like Supreme Verdict. I am at 2. I've used my 1 Stifle, so I don't think I am on outs anymore. Alright, well there were just no fucking removal spells anywhere in my deck. Good God. Alright. Deck, that one's on you. That one's not on me. That one's on you. So I'm interested in carpets, and I am interested in pyroblasts here. These both X1's base. They are both X1's base. That's a little annoying in a Bowmasters matchup. Shown the Stifle, my opponent can live in fear of that forever. I think blasts are largely better than spell pierces, and my blue count is getting very light, making Force of Will not the best. So I am looking to largely answer things once they are in play. Beyond this, do I want to play Wrath of the Skies as something that I can dump a lot of mana into? I don't know that that makes sense if this is the plan for the matchup, though. So when possible, I'll want to hold the white removal for Orcish Bowmasters, it looks like. With 1 land, we'd probably be in business here. But that is just frankly not going to do it, and this is fine. I'm going to keep this one and probably just get rid of Wasteland. My opponent has a decent number of basics in their deck, I say as they Underground Sea. Yeah, you've got it. I imagine that I just lose swords here. And I'm correct. Let's go ahead and surveil with this. I don't need that land. That's Uro food for sure. Alright, there's a Toothy. I wish I had drawn Pir instead, because I could play Pir next turn. Very fast shuffle there. My opponent has another land drop. Let's just go like a Xander's Lounge here. Cool. We will take our redraw with Uro. 4 cards in graveyard for it already. And this will let me put in the Volk. Getting Xander's Lounge for Leyline Binding does mean that I don't have blue, blue, green, green for Uro immediately, but I am still missing a card in graveyard for that, so I think that is in theory fine. I'm not sure how I feel about these cards versus Bowmasters. Like, if they resolve, they do just cantrip. Fuck. Yeah. That's tough. That is tough. This is just straight up whenever you draw a card. So that does count my draw step. So this is something that I can win the game with. It will, in theory, solo the game versus Harbinger. My opponent did just cut themselves off of black mana, unless they have basic swamp in hand, meaning that this actually will be difficult to remove. So we'll see where we end up here. Very fast shuffle again. Opponent's basic island is a basic island, as is everything else on the field. Don't love that. Opponent went back and forth on the attack, and then didn't take it. I am going to go ahead and cast this now. Like, I could wait and it could be a combat trick, but I think I am okay just crashing in for 5 or so damage. None of these cards do anything. But Toothy's ready to rumble. 5 ya. Opponent's at 12. Ooh, yeah. Now my opponent gets to dig. Just a miss? No card revealed. Nice. Tamiyo is being held back as a blocker, which might mean that my opponent has Brainstorm. I'm going face here, I think. I think this is a distraction. 6, because this is just lethal next turn. Narset gets to dig. Narset does not reveal anything. Mid-sized Murktide? It is. But I will be a 7/7. Alright, the Harbinger is getting in there. I draw the Taiga that I know about. This has to be chump blocked at this stage. Imagine Tamiyo does that. Alright, cool. No Brainstorm to back it up. My opponent's not quite at the point where they can just, like, Murktide, attack, chump block, Murktide, attack, lethal. And I think if this Harbinger of the Seas leaves the board, life is bad for them. Like, even assuming they have some castable black cards, I think the game falls apart real quickly if I get to do all this stuff. Okay, the Harbinger is coming in. So the intention is now to chump block with a 6/6 Murktide Regent. Toothy is fucking ready to party. Base. I'd like to just take a moment to shout out all the Toothy doubters in the YouTube comments. We thought Toothy was going to get sideboarded out every round and do nothing. Fucking wrong. Toothy has murders. Murder in its eyes. I don't even know if it has eyes. Well, I mean, what am I going to do? Not attack? Oh, yeah. Mana is free, baby. I'm gonna start here. This is just, like, least bad if a Bowmaster comes down in response to it versus playing something like Pir immediately. Alright, so we're in play. And I think with this trigger on the stack, I'm going to answer Narset. I think I'm going to do that with Leyline Binding. Yeah, okay, I'll pay. I'll fetch twice and pay. That one happens. And I will attempt to Pyroblast Narset. It is Bowmasters, sure. Okay, this is fine. I will not be deploying a land. I do get more +1/+1 counters. My opponent gets a couple of blockers here. And we'll just see how many black removal spells my opponent can fire off. That's kind of like one. And that's also kind of like one. I'd like to find some more removal, obviously. That's just more things that draw cards. Unfortunately, it's awkward to play Pir out until I deal with Bowmasters, at which point it's pretty actively good. If this leaves the battlefield, I draw 10 cards. So I can't really attack this into the Death Touchers. It's awkward. I think I'm just going to draw a card this way. Keep the Uro that's already in play. One ring. Okay. Now I can attack Toothy in. But it still will give my opponent a very large token. Oh, this is awkward. Let's assume that this works itself out somehow. Alright, so there's protection from everything. There's some post-combat mana. Send them. So they ping the token, and we'll see what they do with this stuff. Alright, so Toothy is down. I'm going to draw most of my deck. Bowmaster triggers happen. My opponent can finish off this Uro. Okay, so it looks like my opponent targeted the Uro with all of them, so they only end up with a 2/2 Orc Army token, which is nice. So then I think I make white mana here. I think I only have like one land left in my deck. I don't know whether or not it's untapped mana. Let's find out because it's relevant. No, it was a hedge maze. I don't think I will need that. I will 1 mana Leyline Binding. That takes out the Bowmasters. Then I will 1 mana Leyline Binding. Take out the Goyf. I guess I'll draw and see if this last card is a Swords to Plowshares. It's not. That's fine. This is an okay turn. I'm going to get rid of the second carpet. I'm going to discard an Uro. I'll discard a Wasteland. I don't honestly think that Beanstalks are all that good at this stage of the game. I guess you can go to graveyard too. Cool. Well, that was fucking wild. So I think my opponent could have targeted their Goyf with, I forget how big their Goyf was exactly, but I think they could have targeted their Goyf with some of the triggers to end up with a slightly larger Orc Army token. Stock up is fine. Yeah, we got the XD from the opponent in chat. I'm going to take 2 from this, 1 from my 1 ring, and then commit some number of absolutely heinous crimes. Yes, let's make some blue mana. I think this is funny, so let's do it. Let's play Pir. Pir will let me get the other Toothy, so I'll play Toothy. Force of will. It is absolutely not correct to fight over this. However, it is really fucking fun. So, we're doing it. Okay, I think I am now out of Pirs. Oh, no, I'm not. Okay. So now, we draw cards with the 1 ring, and then this shit happens. Oh, the power. I will play a Carpet of Flowers for more mana. I will play a Wasteland. I will Wasteland one of your Wastelands. These give me delicious mana. Now I have... I'm going to go ahead and move to my second main phase, where I'm going to make green mana, then go green, green, blue, blue. I guess I don't need to think too much about this. So now Toothy is huge. And it wasn't correct to play this turn the way that I did because I don't have Counterspell available, but, like, what the fuck is my opponent gonna do? My opponent says their Harbinger was hurting them, too. I believe it, but, you know, I will not dredge Life from the Loam. Alright, Carpet Flowers mana, we'll wait on that. We're gonna go to Punchies. We are going to Punchies. I will not dredge with Life from the Loam. Will not put a land card onto the battlefield. I'll let my opponent block, and then counterspell whatever sort of interaction happens. Sholdred's Edict. I will sacrifice Pir. Alright, opponent's got something. Mystic Sanctuary. 4 stock up. Well, that means they think they're getting through this turn. No, okay. Alright, I am low on clock. That game was weird. This was kind of a crazy game. I did not expect the answer to be like, just let Toothy die into Bowmaster, but it was. I'm thinking about Wrath of the Skies for Bowmasters. Like, I have so very much hard draw in this deck. Do I have one basic plains that I wasn't able to fetch out with that one fetch land? Nope. Okay. I wonder if I need a Force of Will or two in respect of Harbinger of the Seas. I might. That feels a little awkward. But without a basic plains in the deck, I think I need to respect that. This doesn't do anything immediately, but the cards feel powerful. And if my opponent leads on a non-basic, I am just going to snap Wasteland it without thinking about it. Yeah, and yeah. I've still got 4 lands here with not all of my colors, but most of my colors. There's a Force of Will, that's great. I'm going to say no to you. I wouldn't mind white mana, but otherwise, I'm saying no to lands right now. That was just fetch for a regular old Underground Sea. Yeah, absolutely. Opponent, relatively speaking, is also low on clock. Like, I think we are both in danger of timing out this game. Before a Bowmasters can come down, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. I'm going to put back Boseiju and some other random land, and then just play the fetch to clear. I should have thought about the land drop more. I kind of want to fetch Meticulous Archive at this exact moment. Yes. I'm just gonna fetch out something here. I am absolutely in the save seconds of clock mode right now, rather than the fully optimize everything mode. I don't care if Baleful Strix hits me, unless Kaito gets involved. I think I'm just gonna hope that doesn't happen. Land can go to graveyard. I have plenty of Uro fuel, and I have Force of Will to back up Uro. I am okay against everything except Kaito specifically. Wasteland's fine for my opponent, but I just have 2 more lands in hand here. I'll take that. I do get Wastelanded. I think going for Uro immediately. I have blue, green. This can just get me red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, nice, it did just resolve. Opponent floated black, didn't do anything with it. I'm unsure if I fight over Uro. If my opponent tries to remove it, it is my easiest way to win this game within 5 minutes. But if I draw a new blue card, I can just like cast Toothy, and Toothy goes into Pir, and Pir goes into Toothy, and blah 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 blah. It's good. Bowmaster mana now available. Alright, no attack. Land drop. I think this is for Bowmasters. I think I'm okay attacking into Baleful Strix. Ooh. Alright, I'm sending in. I'll put a land drop into play. This is now another blue card. So I can have Toothy backed by a counter spell. So, bam. Fatal Push. I'm okay with that. Because Toothy gets me Pir. Oh, I hope I have an untapped green source. Yes. And then Pir gets me Toothy back. That I'll fight over. Ooh, nice. That pitched a Spell Pierce, which was going to be one of my concerns. Ooh, it's another Force Effect. We fightin'. So now I have swords for something like a Goyf that comes down, and then I get to just follow up with Uro. The late game card advantage of this deck is very real. F. Alright. Let's just naturally draw the other Toothy. I guess that was a reason to not tap out to play Pir immediately. I was not really expecting to lose that stack battle, though. Alright. 22. Yeah, opponent has their basic swamp this time. I think that makes this very different from the previous game. And now they've got a Force Effect backing things up. Alright, that Force Effect is live, but I really needed it here. I think I punted this one by playing Pir out. and not playing around Harbinger of the Seas by holding up swords. That's clear in retrospect, but I was trying to play quickly. Okay, cool. Nothing there. I think at this point I am comfortable conceding the game. I think that loss is fully on me. GG's though. That was a really cool match. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. All right, opening hand is fine here. I'll probably just end up like stifling a fetch land and then trying to brainstorm into some removal for whatever my opponent is doing. And if I don't get run over in the first couple of turns here, I'm likely pretty good. I have a stifle for if my opponent attempts to wasteland me. I'm not going to get cute and like stifle a Delver trigger there in the dark when my opponent hasn't had a chance to set it up. So I have Leyline Bindings that can answer cards like Quarry Steelcutter. Since I know I don't need to use my Stifle, I'm now going to go ahead and brainstorm in response to this. Oh, none of that's removal. Toothy's the slowest thing here. I'm going to get rid of Toothy, and then I'll just like redraw a Stifle. Definitely a little worried about getting run over, though. I did just fully miss on removal. So I am going to, I think, go ahead and just fetch an untapped white source here and preemptively brainstorm trying to hit a removal spell. Brrr, not good. Pir goes back, and I'll redraw whatever the other card is. I guess a brainstorm. I am in very bad shape if I get hit for 6 this turn. I can fight back versus a wasteland with Stifle. So Murktide goes to Yard. This is now a 3/3. I think I'm going to stifle this land drop because I think it means getting rid of a land and stopping a monk from entering play. Unless I just get dazed right here, in which case, fuck me, I guess. Nice. I'm only getting hit for 6 now. I am at 10. I don't have game 1 sweepers. I know I don't like my top card. I think I'm going to regular brainstorm, though. Well, we found all the fat in the deck at the same time, which is not good. So I think I'm going to get an untapped land and again try to brainstorm into a Swords to Plowshares. It's not quite what I want, because these currently cost 2. So one of the reasons that I brainstormed earlier the way that I did was that so I could play Xander's Lounge if I hit Leyline Binding, but on the second brainstorm that did not work. I now suspect that I am effectively dead. Even if not literally dead, I think going to 3 versus the Lightning Bolt Quarry Steelcutter deck is a death sentence. So, what do we got? Brainstorm. So any spell kills me from prowess. Otherwise, I'm at 1 and can't fetch. Oh yeah, so we are already dead without the monk involved. Okay, so I am going to get more mana efficient here in some capacity. I think I am out on these. I don't think I need to be a Force of Will deck here. I might not even be Spell Pierce. This is 59. I think I will play the Wrath of the Skies, even if they end up sweeping my Carpet of Flowers. I'm either going to do... I think I'm going to go down 1 Up the Beanstalk. I think that's fine. This feels clunky. This is not a land type for Leyline Binding. I think I can do better than this on a 6. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna need more mana. So I can get a Tri-land and a Savannah and Leyline Binding on my own turn to remove a DRC or whatever. Yeah. Let's do that. Oh boy, Wasteland's gonna be good against me. But that was already true with the previous hand as well. I think I'm just going in for immediate removal here. So by getting the Savannah, I do this around days and can still potentially fire off a Brainstorm just for mana efficiency. I think my cards are fine. I don't think I super need to shuffle away cards. Wasteland is what it is. We'll Brainstorm. Yeah, cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and bury the One Ring and leave myself the possibility of drawing it. Yeah, that's fine. I think I'll just remove that, honestly. Savannah plus Volk makes this cost 2. This will be dazable. I think that's fine. I'd like to tap out for Uro next turn anyway. Great. Now, something like Quarry Steelcutter can still come down, and I am at fewer answers to that than I might like. But I brought in Wrath of the Skies, so that helps a little bit. Yeah. Yep, there is the bobble for the immediate attack in for 2. And they will crack it. I'll be at 15. They redraw Up the Beanstalk. Given that I've used 2 Leyline Bindings, I think that's worse than just playing Uro. This is, in theory, 3 life, plus an additional land drop, plus a card draw. Absolutely. Green, green, blue. This can be blue off Meticulous Archive for a Surveil as well. We'll just see how hard this monk hits me. I wonder if this card is going to be banned on Monday in, like, Standard or something. Because I kind of want one of these cards for an EDH deck that I am crafting. But I sure don't want it at its current price. A teacher at the school I work part-time at was a new player to Magic, I guess is still, and was building a blue-red aggro deck, and he was like, is Quarry Steelcutter good? It doesn't seem good. It seems kind of slow. I think I could just win before it comes down. And that was in, like, early May, I think. And I was like, I bet you're going to own a playset of Quarry Steelcutter by the end of the summer. Card is real good. I'm going to take 5. Let's Meticulous Archive. I don't need that land. Sure. Green, green, blue, blue. That leaves swords open still. Let's see if this resolves. Oh shit, it just does. Very nice. Pyroblast is not currently available, but is a great card. I'm going to pass the turn. I may end up swordsing a monk token depending on what exactly happens. Opponent junks a Force of Will. As a new Quarry Steelcutter. You've got it. That probably means that I am swordsing a monk at some point this turn. Ooh. Alright. I will take out a monk. 1-for-1ing versus Quarry Steelcutter doesn't feel good, though. So here's where we're at when the board clears. I'm still taking half of my life total. Quarry Steelcutter, very, very good. Yup. White, 1 and 2. Played around Daze, played around Force of Will. That's why we brought that one in. Pay 2. Board's clear. I can Pyroblast something like a Murktide Regent. And I have Uro coming. Opponent has 3 cards remaining. That's fine. I can let that resolve. I can Pyroblast it on my own turn. There's also Toothy. I think I just go for this immediately. Blue, green, green, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and done. Very nice. I will not put that onto the battlefield. I think now. I'm gonna do this now, so that my opponent can't use the Delver trigger plus their land to select for their turn. This does make me worse against some Spell Pierce type things where the mana could be tapped on my opponent's turn. I think it's fine. Delver trigger flips to a Pyroblast. I can answer my Uro temporarily. Yep. Alright, so excuse me, the Surveil land comes back down. I'll eat a little bit of damage, but then I have a Pyroblast for this. That's just a land drop. I think I'm just gonna play that immediately. Oh, nice. That lets me do Toothy Crimes. Make a bunch of blue mana. I think I just take out the Delver before I Toothy. Then I will get Toothy and Pir going. And with Up the Beanstalk and Uro and Toothy, most of my non-land top decks are very good. There's Pir. I don't care if this eats like a lightning bolt because Pir just gets me another one. 2 feels like the right number of these. Just by the way, throwing it out there. Opponent's doing some selecting. Alright, yeah, opponent lightning bolts. I don't have any +1/+1 counters right now. Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna make 3 green. I'm gonna play Pir. Say yes to that. Here gets Toothy. I think I'm just going to play Toothy. I think I want to be able to attack for a large amount of damage next turn. And Toothy gets Pir. And tripping creatures. Maybe not at the efficiency of a Baleful Strix or anything, but definitely scary. Oh my god, an actual factual predict. What year is it? Aiming predict for predict. Wasteland's fine at this stage of the game. I've got carpet. Mana is beyond covered. Opponent's making moves. An 8/8 Murktide Regent. That's fine. Toothy might be bigger than that, like, immediately. Let's just always yield to that. So this is just straight up 4 mana. Play the One Ring. So there's my fog. Now I draw. This gets 2 counters. And Toothy gets some fuel as well. So I'm going to go ahead and fetch, like, Taiga for leyline binding purposes. So now green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will Uro. I'm gonna draw me a card. Toothy is now a 9. As a reminder, Toothy was a 1/1 at the beginning of this turn. Send it. 11. And next turn I get to play a new One Ring. Yeah, Toothy goes from 0 to 60 with the One Ring insanely quickly. This is sweet. Your Brainstorm is fine, although I will Hydroblast just about anything red that goes on the stack, just because I'm going to draw so many cards. Protection. I don't think my opponent remembers I have the protection because of it being at 2 counters. Yeah. Yeah, I was correct to do that in first main phase, so that I don't have this blue mana available, or whenever you are presumably going to cast a spell. Yeah. Well, this is insane when it works. Shoutouts to Wrath of the Skies, though, for clearing double Corey Steelcutter. I'm thinking about whether or not on the draw I want to go down some Up the Beanstalks, because they don't actually trigger off that many things, just for some spell pierces in respect of Corey Steelcutter specifically. I think I am good with doing that. I think my endgame is just good enough already. Yeah, I'm good with this. Volcanic Island from my opponent on a mulligan to 6, and we've got a Delver. I think I'm going to hold up Spell Pierce for Corey Steelcutter in the first turn cycle. And hopefully I just take 1 from the Delver rather than 3, which is what's happening. 19. Oh, Spell Pierce on Corey Steelcutter. Let's fucking do it. Nice. We Tundra. And hopefully we get it. Could get dazed. Don't get dazed. Nice. So let's go Carpet here. Very nice. I think I'm just going to prioritize 100% clearing out the board rather than jamming Uro as quickly as possible. I'm not super interested in wastelanding my opponent right now because their lands give me mana with Carpet. So when I wasteland, I am denying myself kind of 2 mana, right? 1 from my wasteland that I don't have, and 1 from the Volk that they're losing. Alright, yes, I will use this ability. Make like blue here. We are going to Swords the more valuable creature. And I'll make a land drop. Play Uro. Very nice. I think now I am willing to wasteland my opponent. Like, I still have Uro around Daze next turn, and I'll just make it harder for a Corey Steelcutter to hit play. Alright, so now opponent's going to look at their top card, which is going to help them flip that Delver. They can stack it in a way that if they know the top card is an instant or sorcery, they just flip immediately. And if they don't, they draw the card and then they take another blind stab at Delver. Brainstorm's fine. I'll take 3 from this Delver. And then hopefully Uro just runs away with the game. I think I'm okay with just surveilling here. I think with the Carpet in play, my mana is good enough that that's fine. Very nice. Let's just go blue. Play this. Green. Green. Blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Yeah, I'll put the land into play. I'll play the new Carpet. And I think I'm just going to hold Leyline Binding. I think I'll take 3 from the Delver. I think it is maybe more important to remove a Corey Steelcutter or a Murktide Regent. Let's see what opponent's got to deal with my Uro. Just selection. Their deck certainly will have Pyroblasts and stuff. I am not under the impression that Uro is just going to go all the way here. And if I hold Leyline Binding, I do believe that I have one Up the Beanstalk in my deck that I could draw to make it better. Yeah, you've got Delirium. I'll take some damage. Hey, there's that one Up the Beanstalk. I'm going to go yes to this one, green, and then yes to this one, white. So there's Up the Beanstalk. Draw my card. Yeah, I've just got mana to play that before I play Leyline Binding. So there's Toothy. Toothy targets me. Yes. Get Pir. Leyline Binding. It does cost 2 mana. That's fine. I'll draw a card with Up the Beanstalk, which will put a counter on Toothy. Ooh, we are getting a response. I think possibly I should have gone to my second main phase for the other Carpet of Flowers mana here, actually, because of Pir. Or so well. Sure. I'll get my +1/+1 counter. Drop that. Oh, I did use both carpets. JK, I am a liar. Wasteland's fine at this stage. Yeah, yep. Just tapping out. Totally understand that. At this point, like, my game plan is pretty overwhelming. GG's. I am lacking early interaction with this hand. The end game is sweet, and I have 3 lands. Hopefully that's fine. Like, we might be doing something similar as to last round. Then a lot of this early game is going to be, do I find Swords to Plowshares? Bobble redraw. And I'm just going to play a land and pass. I think this is either the Tri-land or a Surveil land. I'll take 1 here. Absolutely no problems with that. I'm happy that I'm only taking 1. There's 3 card types in graveyard already. Let's go for the Surveil land. I'm going to say no to that. Like, it is an exceptional card, but I think I have the end game covered, and I need to respect my early game here. I think I'm just going to end up brainstorming on my opponent's turn. I don't think I want to do it before this is a 3/3, though. I don't want my opponent to cast a counterspell that makes me take 2 more damage as they, like, surveil a random Murktide into the graveyard or whatever. Yeah, so this is my opponent just, like, being very aggressive and trying to make it so this deals 3 to me. Yep, there's the 4th card type. But now that this is big, I think I will brainstorm. Nice, I hit Swords. Put back land. I think Pir. I will just get it back with Toothy later. Then I think I'm going to go ahead and fetch. And this will be Dazeable or whatever. I think I am good with just trying to remove this immediately. Yep. So I'm now going to take 3 from this, go to 11, and then hopefully resolve an Uro 2 turns in a row and offset all of the damage that DRC does to me. Okay, that's it for my opponent's turn. So we are going to attempt some life gain. Opponent's willing to react. All right, Uro hits play, which means that I can have Spell Pierce available for something like a Quarry Steelcutter. And I'll pass here. So this current window of the game we're in is the scary point. I think if I make it past these next 2 turns in okay shape, I will probably handily win this one. 3rd land drop. That's fine. I will fire off Spell Pierce on just about any spell that I can actually counter. Otherwise, I want to hold it in case I draw a blue or green producing land. I can play Uro with a Spell Pierce backup and have a way to potentially beat a Force of Will. All right, opponent thought about it for a while and then did keep the Ponder. I'm at 11. That doesn't get Spell Pierced. Come on, land. Negative. I almost want to just play the other Uro from my hand and try to draw into white removal. But there's no guarantee that my opponent will, like, be in spell pierceable range for a counterspell next turn. And I'm worried about just getting hit for 12. So we will go for it around days, but a Force of Will get me here. Yep. Opponent junks Force of Will and Quarry Steelcutter, and I don't have my counterspells available for the next turn cycle. This is not great. I'm not going to use Wasteland. I think the colorless mana towards casting Uro matters too much. I'm at 5. Very much in danger of getting burnt out. And Murktide. Yeah. Murktide, that allows these still to be 3/3s. Well, let's draw into white removal, please. How much does this cost? Costs 3. That's not great. So I draw a land. I can take out Murktide, but still take 6, which is unfortunately lethal. Did not have time to get Pir and Toothy down this game. They just kind of rotted in hand the whole time. Alright, so we've done roughly the same song and dance before already. I think the Up the Beanstalks are actually not great here. I end up boarding out my Force of Wills in an effort to 1-for-1 with my opponent. I think I like Spell Pierce for Corey Steelcutter, and we'll just shave some other card. I'm not super sure what it should be. It's possible 4 carpets is too many carpets, but like, damn, the card is good. Yeah. Is it this good? I hope it's this good. It's definitely a little questionable, but I think I am just going to believe. Sometimes my opponent just sits there with lands for a little while without doing anything. But I think that is ultimately fine. I think the long game favors me. Now, as soon as my opponent has mana, I like very easily jump up to Uro, and all the Pir and Toothy type cards are online. That resolves. So let's fetch. The Tri-land here gives me 2 others. I think that's fine, even though it's not true white mana showing. I'm just going to make white with both of these and do the Leyline Binding. Just take this out before it starts surveilling and being annoying. And I think I'm just going to hold up Spell Pierce rather than play Uro into Daze. I would really prefer that a Corey Steelcutter does not make it into play right now. I'm going to Pyroblast that while it's on the stack. I don't want that slipping into play, because Brainstorm in response to a removal spell could be really annoying, is the end of that thought. Yeah, that's fine. Until my opponent has 4 lands, Spell Pierce still counters Corey Steelcutter, so I think I'm okay holding here. Ooh, nice. I'm just going to slam this. I've got Spell Pierce backup for Force of Will. Very good. Here. Now do I want to just start playing Magic the Gathering cards? Yeah, I think with this in play, I'll live through a Corey Steelcutter if one happens. Nice. Never didn't have it. And now between like Pir and the One Ring and slightly later Toothy, I think I just kind of go wild. And every time my opponent fetches, it's just +2 mana for me, which feels kind of nutty. I think they were thinking about fetching a Surveil land and decided not to. Okay, well, that's resolving. I'm not great at removing that. It's possible, but it involves spending a lot of mana into Wrath of the Skies. That's awkward, but I think I'm just going to get rid of that. I'll take my 1. You're a card late. So I'm going to make blue and green here. I think I just straight away play Pim. Yes, use that to pull Toothy out of my deck. Play Toothy. Use that to pull Pim out of my deck. Yeah. Then draw my One Ring cards, which makes Toothy go wild. I think I just play Uro next turn safely and just have 4 different instant speed interaction cards available to me rather than tapping out. Yeah, sure. 4th land drop. I don't get to block your protection from all my shit. I'm also not super sure that that matters. I'll lose some life. Hit a new One Ring. Now we do Carpet of Flowers Crimes. Blue with one of these. Yes. Green with one of these. Draw some cards. Oh my god. I'm going to go ahead and fetch to put an extra card into graveyard here. A Tundra. I'll play a new One Ring. Toothy is just going to be lethal by itself here. Keep this one. Draw some cards. Make Toothy bigger. For shits and giggles, cast an Uro. Uro resolves. Put a land into play. Gain some life. There's a 2025 Toothy. Ready to crush dreams. Pyroblast. I will Spell Pierce that. Opponent fetches. They are brainstorming rather than playing for the Spell Pierce. So I think that means that I let the Brainstorm go through. Spell Pierce? Yeah. Toothy. I think this is working just fine. Yeah, Carpet of Flowers did wonders last time, and I also have Life from the Loam as something else to be casting early. This seems fine. It is Tameo. I have a leyline binding for that long term. So we'll carpet. When in Rome. If carpet resolved, I think swords is going to resolve, so I would love my next draw to be like a fetch land. Yeah, that works too. DRC is fine. Bobble's fine. And I imagine I'll get wastelanded here. And I do. And I'm going to go land Life from the Loam and make my land drop like normal. Bobble. So yes. Make green. Play land drop. Life from the Loam. That is a daze for tempo. That'll do. Notably, that does take a land out of play for Carpet of Flower purposes, but it comes back. Beardane is fine. That does mean that I'm getting hit for 3 this turn. And with an Uro in my hand, dredging a Life from the Loam for some extra cards in graveyard is like absolutely not bad. Alright, 3/3. Coming in, hits me. Preordained bottomed. Got it. I'll dredge. Hit some lands. Say yes. Make green. Cast Life from the Loam. 2 targets. Nice. Go ahead and play this one. And potentially just getting a Surveil land here. I don't think I am dredging Life from the Loam next turn. I think I'm probably just playing an expensive Leyline Binding. I might go down the Uro route. We'll see. 14. Fetch. Surveil. Oh, that's a weird one. I could do my Leyline Binding with backup for Force of Will, but I would be making red off Carpet of Flowers, which like super telegraphs it. I think I'm just going to say no to that. Don't dredge. An Uro. Make some blue mana. And I think just go for the overcosted removal spell here. I have the end game super covered. I just want to stabilize. I don't know, maybe that exact thing is an argument to keep the Pyroblast. Certainly looks good versus that. Not gonna dredge. Hey, love that. So we're gonna go ahead and Leyline Binding again around Soft Permission. Take out the Murktide. And we're not using the most mana here, but everything is going to break open shortly. Opponent's still not desperate enough to use this as a Surveil land. Wasteland does real stuff here. And we'll see if they have something to do in second main. They don't. How do I feel about Life from the Loam? It's like fine. I think I'm okay doing it. So we'll go yes. I'll make some green. I'll use the green or Life from the Loam as a draw 3. I'm going to just get an untapped white source for the future. No, that was wrong with Meticulous Archive in hand. I think that should have been a Volk. Don't dredge. Meticulous Archive. I think no. All right, opponent is now surveilling. Oh, and they like their card. It might mean True Name. Or Corey. Yep. Land drop. Oh, no second spell, though. That means they've got reactive nonsense. Understood. However, Carpet probably just balls out of control here. We are going to blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got Uro. I will absolutely just counterspell that. Double Pyro. Double Pyro triggers Corey Steelcutter, which is kind of funny. I guess I have like some Hydroblasts and Spell Pierces and such. No, I am not dredging. Wrath is cool. Leyline Binding, that's fine. Bam, bam. That can clear. So now do I want to just Leyline Binding Corey Steelcutter, or do I want to Wrath of the Skies it? I think I am fine Leyline Binding it, so I keep my Carpet of Flowers around. With Volk, it now costs 2. I can leave my opponent with the 1/1 token, and that feels pretty close to ignorable with Uro, One Ring, Toothy all here. No attack with the monk. Resigned to their fate. Yes, make blue mana. Blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Done. There's Uro coming back. Uro is ready to party. Petty Theft. That doesn't get spell pierced, so sure. I will not dredge. No land to put in. This is fine. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to stick Toothy. And then next turn I'll do Toothy, One Ring, Crimes. Target myself. Grab the last Pir out of the deck. No monk attack. The fear is real, as it should be, honestly. Alright, there's a land. Let's always yield to that. Carpet for 4 mana. Yes. Make blue. Cast the One Ring. A daze. You know, I think I'm going to pay for it. Alright, there's protection from everything. And there's Pir. You can use that to search for another Toothy. You can cast your Brazen Borrower, that's fine. Yep. No, this turn was the turning point. I mean, honestly, we probably reached it a little while ago, but once these are resolved and in play, this deck is absolutely disgusting. GG's. All right, what are we looking at here? I've got 2 lands. This is weird. It's not amazing. I think I'm going to keep it and Meticulous Archive pretty aggressively for another land, which I did hit. So then I can use Counterspell and Spell Pierce to get me out of the early game. Basic Island and Tamiyo, sure. So now I can have Swords with Spell Pierce backup. That seems fine. If I have to Spell Pierce, I want to do it off of this land. Swords. I, in theory, want Scalding Turn to be flexible, because sometimes I get Wastelanded and I need to replace a color, and other times I just want to get my Grixis land to make Leyline Binding as cheap as possible. Alright, float a mana there. And this is just going to empty. And a new Tamiyo. Sure. So I'm just going to take that out, I think. Do this off of like a Trop. Oh no, I am a fool. I don't know why I thought that was going to work. I mean, I know the answer. It's because I just ate lunch and my brain is full of spicy buffalo wings. I'm just going to trade with that. Okay, no more mana for my opponent. That's good for me. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. Now this just costs 1, so I can do this around a daze. Not around a Force of Will. Oh, it's the Planisphere. Sweet. So Tamiyo will make another clue, but without extra lands, my opponent actually can't start getting in there yet. The Brainstorm's actually fine. Leyline Binding answers Tamiyo the same regardless of which form it's in. I can 1 mana Leyline Binding with Counterspell backup on my own turn, and then it's not a big deal. You know, 1 more Counterspell is, though. Uro is fine after everything is said and done. Binding resolves. And I think I will hold up Counterspell for stuff that looks like this rather than deploying Uro immediately. It's slightly awkward if my opponent just like passes the turn and uses their mana to crack a clue. Yeah, we are saying no to that for sure. In game 1s, those are harder to answer. Not impossible, but harder. Okay. So blue, green, some other land. Edge Maze, sure. My opponent has lots of live targets for that, and is missing land drops. I think I'm just gonna put it into my graveyard though. Like, I think a Quarry Steelcutter or Planisphere or DRC or whatever comes down this turn, and I would rather just have a removal spell for it next turn than the Spell Pierce to get the next thing. Sure. And a Bauble. And Wasteland, sure. Taking a Trop, I don't actually have a 3rd green source, so that might delay Uro. I think if you're going to Bauble, you Bauble before you Wasteland, though. If my top card is like a green source, then you're better off hitting the Xander's Lounge. Let's Brainstorm. Yeah, there's a green source. Here's another green source. Bam Bam. Land. Fetch. Savannah. And we'll Uro, which is resolving. I will put a Wasteland into play. Absolutely. My Wasteland is probably grosser than your Wasteland. You have clues locked in play, and I don't. Yep, opponent is just passing the turn, which is probably not where they want to be. Send it. Make a land drop. Opponent's just going to take it. I'm fine playing this out and thinning some lands from my deck. Well, I'll probably thin 1 and keep the other for Brainstorm type cards. Because, like, I have both Surveil lands and the Xander's Lounge out of deck already. 23. Ooh, are we just out of fetchables at this stage for any fetch land? Okay, good to know. This is just a shuffle. Nice. Uro has grayed out. Send it. New. One's at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's probably Toothy and Pir. Yeah. Target me. Yes. Pir. Play Pir. Target me. Get Toothy. Very nice. So that was game 1, which we won. Oh, my sideboarding is going to look a lot like it has in other rounds. I'm going back and forth a little bit on what exactly I'm doing. Need 1 cut from there. I'll do 1 counter spell on the draw. This is simply not enough mana. I have the right sorts of cards, but that comes at the cost of lands, which I am not a fan of. This is fine. I can draw a win condition later. Let's just keep everything that helps get me out of the early game. Land drop, and opponent's on 6. I think I'm going to Tundra and pass here. If I get Wastelanded, I want guaranteed green mana for Life from the Loam. Opponent can Surveil at end of turn, junking a Pyroblast. Alright, not Wasteland. Brainstorm's fine. Okay, no initial threat played out. That is fine by me. I kind of like... I was going to say, I kind of would like to draw a blue land. That's kind of like a blue land? I think I'm going to say no. I don't think I'm going to cast naked Life from the Loam to like dredge and try to hit land drops next turn. Because I think a lot of times my opponent ends up fetching and I have an acceptable amount of mana. That's fine. Carpet. So I will say yes. Add blue. Yeah. I will Uro. Throw the Xander's Lounge into play. And pass the turn. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's straight up Flame of Honor. Sure. Tamiyo's fine. Bobble's fine. Yep. And I think I am okay just answering Tamiyo on my own turn. Make some blue here. Attempt 2 swords Tamiyo. Oh, that was successful. Wasn't super expecting that to just work. Uro also resolves. Throw a Trop into play. I'll pass the turn with counterspell available. Counter spell. Absolutely. Daze resolves and takes a land out of play, which is like absolutely relevant. Oh, it comes back. That's fine. I can just answer this stuff. We're gonna say yes. I'll make white mana. Attempt 2 swords Tamiyo. That is Force of Will pitching Daze. You've got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need another card in graveyard to get Uro into play profitably. Could like naked Life from the Loam. I think I am just into making sure that my opponent does not start drawing extra cards. I think I am going to cast this though to guarantee that I have Uro next turn. It would be a devastating piece of graveyard hate though. Alright, that is just Lightning Bolt purely to get a monk token. You've got it. Double Wasteland. Not sure that that matters. 21. I will dredge. Carpet of Flowers is going to make me some green mana. We will blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leaving the lands in there. Excellent. No to that. Uro's in play. I will Life from the Loam in addition to that. Make my land drop and pass. Now, if this Uro is answered, I can just dredge and fetch and get the other one into play. And then, like, I will have the 1 ring in addition to that. Yeah, Petty Theft is fine. It's a short-term solution to a long-term problem. Opponent's just gonna get another monk here. And I'll take some damage. I'm just gonna lazily surveil. Yeah. I don't need that land. I'll take 4 damage. I could guaranteed get Uro into play. Opponent says, haha, you're below your starting life total. You're not wrong. Yes. Let's make some green mana. Let's cast Uro. Blue. Oh, fuck, that was the Uro from my hand. Oh, well. That was all part of the plan. You'll see. Fetch. Get a blue source. Play this Uro. I guess I've got mana to Life from the Loam first. Yeah. Yeah. Uro. Blue. Green. Green. Blue, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that gets rid of my life for the loam. Whatever. 5. Make an extra land drop. Let's see if I have an untapped green source. I think I have Savannah. Carpet. Second main. Yes. Make some blue mana. Nothing like playing the One Ring for 1 mana. Yeah. And I imagine we're good from here. Opponent gives me the saucy Brazen Borrower attack. It can't block anyway. I'll take 1. And we are about to play Pir and Toothy, then draw cards with the One Ring, and then draw cards with Uro. Oh. That's good too. We'll make white with 1. Yes. We'll make blue with another. I'm going to do this for x equals 2. Ah, fuck it. X equals 3. We'll take the Brazen Borrower too. I guess rid of my Uro. X equals 2. Throw our bonus energy. We're in garbage time where it doesn't actually matter how well I play, to be frank. Then I'm going to Toothy, get a Pir, draw cards with the One Ring, Toothy triggers. I don't think I have an untapped green source in my deck anymore for that. Send it. Get a Wasteland. Opponent's at 11. I'll Wasteland a mana source. That's good enough. I'll stop there. Quarry Steelcutter is fine. Planisphere is fine. I will just find something to answer one or more permanents with the One Ring. Hello, hero token. I am at 22. I believe I have a Hedge Maze that I can still fetch out. Yeah, that's my last fetchable. I don't need that land. So lose 1. Draw a card. Make Toothy big. Make Toothy more bigger. Lol, 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 lol. Let's draw more cards. I'm not done drawing cards yet. New One Ring. Keep the untapped one. Draw. Oh, this is actually actively good. We'll use that on a Quarry Steelcutter. It costs 1 because I control at least 1 legendary creature. Then I'll play a Carpet of Flowers. Make some attacks. Put a land into play. Opponent takes 6. Carpet. Yes. I'll make some blue mana. I'll now Wasteland you. I'll Brainstorm. Cool. Put back some lands. Fetch to shuffle. I will Leyline Binding away the Planisphere. And I think call that a turn. I do have to be careful. If this leaves play, I do lose the game for drawing my deck. But I have triple counterspell backing it up, so I think I am okay. And it says, hoping for the price of progress to come through. GG's. Wasteland on themselves. I respect it. Wasteland on themselves again. Absolutely. Yeah, when we get going, this deck is insane. We're a little slow to get off the ground, but then, boy, do we turn the corner. Okay, opening hand is fine. We could probably use Force of Will and Counterspell to get out of the early game and then stick the One Ring and try to take over the game as we go into the late game. Urza's Saga is something that is well positioned versus my double Counterspell opener, though. Yeah, that's happening. I think I will Surveil land here. If I Wasteland Urza's Saga, do I want this third land still? I think the answer is yes. Wasteland Saga. Pass turn. Those Workshop. Another key. I'm not countering things that look like this. I am not going to Brainstorm either. I think I'm just going to make my next land drop. My opponent is the much faster One Ring deck. Binding is cool. Would like that to cost much less than it does now. If I don't need to use actual factual counterspell in this turn. Ooh. Opponent needed that Urza Saga. Okay, yeah, then I can just go and get Xander's Lounge and then have 1 mana Leyline Binding available. That is quite good. This is where I'd like to find an Up the Beanstalk to make this Force of Will better. Here? I think I'm okay with that with Force of Will in hand. Wanted to get Trop anyway. And then this is just going to let me pivot very quickly. Get Toothy, pass turn, have Force of Will pitching Brainstorm, and then hopefully play the One Ring and just go. Land drop? Land drop naturally. Very nice. Toothy this turn? I'm good with Toothy this turn. I'll target myself. I will get a new copy of Pir. And with Toothy in play, even if something like Karn slips through, I don't think I mind. Urza's Tower. Force a will the fuck out of this. Yeah, and yeah. Alright. I think it is correct to hold these up. As much as I want to just slam the One Ring and basically win the game instantly, I think it is very hard to say no to 2 different counter spells available for exactly this reason. Pierce, Flooded Strand. Yeah, I mean, same as before. Like, I would like to slam the One Ring and just kill my opponent, but I just have lethal next turn by playing the One Ring, and I can counterspell whatever they play. Absolutely dominating. Yep, that felt good. Okay, now I need to think about my sideboarding. We played against a lot of the same looking stuff. Unsign is great. Wrath is good. Force of Negation is probably good enough. What comes out? I think this is a matchup where my Up the Beanstalks are actively good. Part of me wants to leave Uro as the only win condition in the deck and just pull Pir and Toothy and be hyper interactive. What about Toothy being the only win condition? Like, board out the Uros. My opponent can, in theory, chump block for a while, which is annoying. I think I'm willing to go down on these, but I don't know that I'm willing to go super win condition light. My opponent does have things like Kozilek's Command that can permanently exile stuff. Let's sort this. I want to go down Swords to Plowshares, but Glaring Flushraker must be respected. I might just do something like that. Yeah, this is fine. I have Force of Negation for some turn 1 nonsense. I have a Stifle for a turn 2 Urza Saga trigger. And opponent is on 6. Workshop. Key is fine. I'm going to go ahead and play the fetch if I can do a Surveil Land thing, sure. I think I stifle the Make Construct triggers, not the Make Mana trigger. Battle is fine. Opal is fine. 1 card in hand. I think Monolith is fine. And I will Surveil here. Swords doesn't seem amazing. It's fine. The opponent is going to go for a large Kozilek's Command here, which I will eat with Force of Negation happily. Or X equals 5. We'll just get rid of that. Uro in the not too distant future. That's good with me. Then when Urza Saga trigger happens. Actually, do I want to Boseiju you that? Then my opponent doesn't get to search. Fuck. Yeah, I think I did that wrong. Oh well. Because this gives my opponent an extra mana. Oh, they don't have a land for Boseiju. All. Yeah, you can untap your Monolith, that's fine. So let's play Up the Beanstalk. Get that going. I have Stifle for this trigger. And then hopefully we dodge, like, the worst of the bombs my opponent could have. Yeah, that's fine. So I think I am going to go land drop, Surveil with Hedge Maze. Yeah, that's fine. Then use Uro to draw into that while gaining some life. Put that land into play. House turn. And then opponent might have something like an expedition map to get here to give them an effective threat off of this. But I think with the One Ring and Uro, I'm probably okay. Pithing Needle's fine. You can Pithing Needle my Flooded Strand all day. Naming Wasteland. That's reasonable. I mean, that's one of the ones I wanted to dodge, because this can get a Tormod's Crypt to stop Uro while incidentally stopping the One Ring. Opponent's going for Mycosynth Lattice. Oh, do they just have that much mana available immediately? Oh, they do. Fuck. Yeah, that just beats me. Well, damn. I'm going to go down one of those and play the last Brainstorm when I'm on the play. Okay, this opening hand does not have consistent mana, and I don't have a blue card to pair with this Force of Will. I don't think I like this one, whereas this is fine. Brainstorm may have some amount of work to do in making this smooth out. Around turn 3, I will probably have a pretty darn good Wrath of the Skies. So I might be able to let some stuff through with Spell Pierce that I normally would not let resolve and just clean it up with Wrath of the Skies. Planar Nexus, sure. Start on a blue-white Surveil land here. Am I ready? I don't know that I'm ready yet. Oseju is a fine pickup. I think I'm just going to nuke Planar Nexus immediately. My opponent showed me he did not have a land type for it before, so let's just keep the big stuff from getting into play. By the big stuff, I mean the 4-mana stuff that would be enabled by that plus Tron land. Yep, no land for that. Oh, there's another one, though. Hopefully we use Spell Pierce to take out whatever comes next. I think I am willing to brainstorm immediately, looking for Wasteland, though. I hit an Up the Beanstalk. That's an okay draw. I may end up casting that. Ooh, nice. I will end up casting that. So I want Force of Will, probably pitching Brainstorm. I think I will go Bam. Maybe Bam. Nah, Bam. Bam. Savannah. Beanstalk. Set up the draw and keep all of these cards. Alright, there's Urza's Workshop. Petal is fine. Monolith is fine. Opponent is just passing. So I could Wrath of the Skies to clear that stuff out. I don't really know that that makes sense. I think I'm just going to make a land drop and pass. Mystic Forge I will counter. I think I am going to Brainstorm to figure out how I am going to counter it. I think I am pitching the Spell Pierce at this stage. Ooh. I think I'm going to put back you and you. Batch. Just take Xander's Lounge and Force of Negation that, attempting to use Force of Will to draw multiple cards. Okay, and I did hit a blue card, so that's great. So yeah and yeah. Draw my card. Cool. So now Force of Will is a draw 2, and then I go into Pir and Toothy, and Toothy plus double Up the Beanstalk probably leads to good places. Ooh, opponent just passing the turn here. Uro. I think Uro is better. Uro gives me more looks at cards like Leyline Binding. I'll let you resolve a Kozilek's Whoozy What's It for X equals 1 all day. And I tapped Grim Monolith too. Or was Grim Monolith already tapped? Alright, draw my card. Naturally hit a Toothy. Which probably means that that specific Toothy becomes Force of Will fodder. Big mana available. Absolutely not. Draw 2. There's a blue card. Need some more protection. That's all opponent's got for this turn. Opponent's now pausing in my upkeep. I don't know that they actually have anything relevant. They could, I guess, like do a Kozilek's command for X equals 1, which I'm just going to let them have. I have another one right here. I drew Swords to Plowshares. I'm just going to play Pir, and Uro can just be my pitch card for Force of Negation, or the Toothy can. Oh, I already used it. Wasteland? I don't think that's what this game is about. Urza's Tower. That's the One Ring. That just has to get countered. Did I have one Toothy in the board then? I did. Karn's scary. See what my opponent can find. Yeah, if I realized I didn't have the second Toothy, I would have just held up Force of Negation to hardcast it, and then I'd still have Uro. Getting Mystic Forge. Sure. Brainstorm is great. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back 1 and 2. Send in at Karn for 1. This is the best round for Up the Beanstalk by far. We'll fetch. Pick up a land. Do 5 mana Force of Will. Drawing 2 cards. Not very good cards. Opponent's just going to cash in Karn fully. Getting Mystic Forge. Playing Ancient Tomb. Lotus Petal. And throwing down Mystic Forge. 8 mana. Playing a second Mystic Forge. Okay. Yikes. Those were some good cards to have on top of the deck. That's very not good for me. Pithing Needle. That doesn't seem super relevant here. Naming Wasteland. Oh, deck. That's not great. So I can stifle the One Ring, draw 2 cards. And then that buys me a little bit of time. But my opponent is presumably going to rattle a whole bunch of stuff off the top of library, just like they did last turn, right? Their deck is colorless. Stifle the draw 2. That also manipulates the top of the deck for Mystic Forge purposes. I've used both of my Surveil lands already. Yep. Candelabra's fine. It's just how many cards deep is their first 4-mana bomb. Oh, right, that too. All right, we have 6. Another key. This one is going downhill very, very quickly. Like, I can draw my own One Ring and rival what they are doing, but I think there is a very good chance that my opponent just gets to something like Karn Lattice this turn. Yeah. Monolith, and it begins. There's still Candelabra on tap, the towers, and the workshops. So my opponent is not bottlenecked on mana. It's just, do I draw something like a Wrath of the Skies here? Swords of the Plowshares is not good enough. Like, I will swords and interact with this, and I will attack for 1 point of damage. But my opponent exiled my Uros. Alright, they chump. Sure. So they are at 8 life. And I think as soon as something like an Ugin or a Karn hits play, I am a goner. There's an untap of the One Ring. My opponent can do that one more time. Something was just played, some land. It's another workshop. Casual 20. Another One Ring. Not great. If my opponent had that, I'm surprised they didn't, like, Voltaic Key their other One Ring and just draw 6 more cards before they did that. Oh no, they're just playing it for the protection. They are keeping the one that has 5 counters. Sure. I wonder if I straight up lost this one for boarding out the second Toothy. Because I have an Uro and probably 2 more card draws if I don't tap out to play Pir, since I hardcast Force of Negation. Yet another One Ring. Alright, and they are going to take card draws off of the new One Ring. What is X? 0? Strange. Probably doesn't matter, but I think if you cast that for a large number with Monoliths and Voltaic Keys, I just die on that spot. Untap the One Ring. Where did I get a One Ring? Where did I get a card draw? Like, legitimately, when did that happen? Alright, there's a Karn. And then the next artifact, cast, kills me. Rats. We still end up positive in the league overall at a 3-2 finish, and both of the losses were honestly pretty close. Alright, Pir and Toothy, honestly, were really sweet, King Colt. I liked what I put together here. I am treating this as a first draft, though. I still think this needs some tuning. I think there are a few too many cards right now that are slow in the deck. Like, I don't know that you get all of this in the same deck. Like, I wonder if you don't be an Up the Beanstalk deck and you instead play like Prismatic Endings over Leyline Bindings, and then you are better at answering early permanents, and you can potentially fit a couple of basic lands into the deck. Like, I wonder if you can just be a true Bant control deck without Up the Beanstalk. Maybe the beans are just too important. But I boarded out the beans a handful of times, which I think means that they are potentially expendable. Pir getting Toothy, Toothy getting Pir, and like one of those cards leading into 4 total cards over the course of a game is pretty cool. I enjoyed that interaction a lot. I am overall going to give this a thumbs up. One of the losses, maybe both of the losses, were just my fault. I think in match 1, I could have played around Harbinger of the Seas, and I didn't. And then in that last round, if I realized that I had boarded out a Toothy, I don't take the line that I took, and I'm better off for it. Now, is this better than playing an established control deck? Probably not. The fact that Toothy might end up milling you out effectively, like you just draw your entire deck if Toothy gets removed when it is very, very large before you get a kill. That was on the table once or twice during the league because it just legitimately did get that big. I wonder if there is something you can do to make it unblockable, to more easily finish the game without, like, something that can make you effectively unblockable without being dead when that exact niche scenario doesn't matter. Some sort of split or modal card or something. But I like where we ended up here. This was really powerful. This is a great screenshot deck where you do the thing. I'm unsure how hard this deck was just solely carried by the One Ring. Like, is leaning into the One Ring with these good enough that, like, you can go down other win conditions? Unsure. Are we at the point where, like, we want to be able to tutor for the One Ring? I don't think we're quite that deep. But I liked this one a lot. Oh, one thing, in going into, like, a true Bant deck, we wouldn't have Pyroblast in the sideboard, and the Pyroblasts were pretty actively good, so just food for thought for those of you that are going to continue to tune this one. If you mess around with this, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. This was a slog of a league, but this was really, really fun. See ya.